morning, everybody. My name is Derek DeRozio. I am the compliance officer and manager of the grants management branch at North Carolina Emergency Management, or NCEM. Grants management branch, we call ourselves GMB. That branch, my office, is responsible for administering a number of different grants that we have across the state of North Carolina, including the Nonprofit Security Grant Program, or NSGP, which is a grant we're here to talk about this morning. I have shared my screen so y'all can see the NSGP website. A lot of what we're talking about today you can find right on our website. But most importantly, what I wanted to highlight for y'all today, before we say anything else, our website was just recently updated to extend the application period for nonprofits to apply for FY24 NSGP. The deadline in Salesforce, the deadline is now 5/31/24. Previously, it was 5/24/24. Now the deadline has been extended 1 week to 5/31/24. So it'd be 11:59 p.m. on 5/31/24. There will be no further extensions granted. That's the last date we can extend it to, because we have to submit our application to FEMA to get the funding for y'all, and we have to have that turned in June. So the last possible day we can get your applications from y'all is 5/31/24. So that is the due date, 11:59 p.m. on 5/31/24. The reason we did that was because while many folks are able to use Salesforce and submit their grants no problem, some folks are having some difficulties because it's the first time they've used the program. So we want to give a little more time for those folks to get to make sure they have plenty of time to get their application submitted on Salesforce. So that is the newest change to our website, and the newest announcement I wanted to make for everybody since this is being recorded. So before we get into the rest of our presentation, we only have one guest here with us, Jim Eddings. The rest are just our staff here from GMB. But we do record these sessions so that anybody can watch them at leisure in the future, and folks do watch those recordings. So we treat this training just as if there were 100 people in the room, right? We have to do it as per normal and go through all the material and information, but we are recording it. But we would like to start, Jim, since you are a guest. Do you have any questions specifically, sir, you'd like us to address before we get into the presentation?
My issues are only getting the registration completed and getting on. I've seen the training already before otherwise.
Oh, okay, awesome. So we'll help you get. So you don't have a access to Salesforce yet, sir?
That's correct.
Okay, let's start with that first, real quick. Okay, if you can access the website that we're looking at right here, you just Google NCEM space NSGP. Should take you right to this page. I don't know if you want to follow along, sir, while we're doing it. You can let me know if you're there.
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, take your time. Got plenty of time.
Put that in a different browser.
Yeah, no problem. It's usually probably best to use Chrome, but either one.
Okay.
Chrome works best with Salesforce. That's why I'm telling you.
Perfect.
All right. So if you see our website here, the blue box up here has the link to Salesforce in it many times over. You can pick any one of those you want. Let's pick the first one. Click on that link to Salesforce. And you will see what they call the login screen. Now, if you're a new user, okay, so you don't have a username or password yet, right? You want to click here. So you're just going to click here. Follow along with me. You can do that right now. This is what we call our registration request form. It'll pop up on the screen here in a minute. Oh, it's not popping up there. Let's see.
Yeah. Usually when that happens, if you close out the browser and restart.
Okay. All right. Let's try that again. Yep. Try that again, sir. All right, try that again, Salesforce. All right. There we go. All right, Jim, do you see this screen here? The EM grants registration request form screen?
Hang on just a second.
All right, take your time.
Well. Yeah, I can't. I thought I'd saved it as a favorite last night, but it's not coming up.
That's fine. That's fine. So open up Chrome.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah. And then just Google NCEM space NSGP. So just open up Chrome, NCEM space NSGP.
Yep.
Yep. It'll be the first link there, Nonprofit Security Grant Program, NCDPS.
Yep. Yep.
Click on that page there and you'll see the blue box with the Salesforce link at the top. Click on that link.
Salesforce link at the top.
Yeah, and
I'm
the blue
on
box.
that page.
See the blue box up here, which says NSGP update at the top of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, click on
Yep,
one of those hyperlink blues. All right, when you do that,
I'm finally
all right.
New user, click here.
There you go. Yep.
There we go.
Click
Now I'm
there.
finally
Yep, click
there.
All right, good. Now we're caught up. All right. So now do you see the EM grants registration request form?
Yep.
All right. So you fill this information out. What is your organization name, sir?
It's First Baptist Church of Gastonia.
Okay. So have you created an account with them yet? Do you know? For them?
No, that's what I was doing last night.
Okay.
I didn't have
you're not in the system yet. So basically then when you get to this question, say no.
Right.
Okay, and you're gonna type in your organization name at that point, right there. Classification, you pick, I'm assuming you're a nonprofit.
That's correct.
Are you 501c? 501c
We're under
status?
the State Baptist Convention 501(c), so
Okay.
I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah, I'd say just probably say nonprofit 501c status is probably fine right there.
Okay.
But do you have a UEID, unique entity identification number for your organization?
I do not yet.
Okay, so for
I
that,
had read that wasn't necessary to apply, so I hadn't done that yet.
So just put TBA in there for that field.
TBA, okay,
Yeah.
That's what I needed to know.
Or how about TBD? TBD, to be determined.
To be determined. That
Yeah,
works.
TBD. Yeah, I'm assuming you have a FAN, a federal tax identification number. You should have that.
Got that this morning.
Yep. Yeah. So we put that in there. Fill out the rest for the program down here. Anytime you see these little eye boxes, Jim, if you click on that, gives you more information, right? But for the program, just pick, do the drop down list and pick NSGP. The program.
Yes.
Everything else is pretty much self-explanatory.
Yep.
Once you do that, all right, then get it all filled out. All the fields have to be filled out. Hit register. Then it comes to us, and then we will, we'll take it from there. Then from there, you'll get an email to complete the process.
Okay.
Now, if you need more assistance with this, on that main website page, in that blue box at the top of the screen, there's a YouTube video right here. Okay, click on it. It's a very short YouTube video.
The 4-minute one. I saw that yesterday.
Yep. Not sure why this is an ad right here, but the YouTube video will come up, and once that comes up, you'll see Miss Amanda Thaxton is the voice of this video. Not even a 4-minute video. So this is the whole process. She walks you through the whole process in this video.
Yep.
All right. So there's that. So hopefully, sir, that's your main question. You'll be able to do that right here this morning, right now.
That's it. You got me through the UEI, and that was the main question I had.
Yep.
Let me ask you one other question. This is for later. What's an MOA?
So MOA, a memorandum of agreement, that's basically going to be your grant contract with us, your grant agreement.
Okay.
It's a legal document you'll sign. It specifies the terms and conditions of the award, what you have to do to get the money.
Okay.
It is a legal document, so I would, it's about 20 pages long. Unfortunately, with the federal grants, a lot of information there. I would encourage you to read it. If you get funded, right? So if you get funded, it's a grant. If you don't get funded, don't worry about it, obviously. But if you get funded, you'll get that document. You have to read it, and you have to execute that document with us to say you agree with terms and conditions. The biggest thing you got to realize with this grant, hopefully it's not a problem for y'all, but it's a reimbursement grant. So that means you have to complete eligible expenditures, in furtherance of the approved scope of your project. So let's say
Yes.
your application was for security cameras. If that was the approved project, you'd have to submit expenditures, for the security cameras that were incurred during the period of performance of the grant. So you'll have, 3-4 years to spend the money as specified on the grant. It's called the POP. You have to have the expenditures that incurred during the period of performance. You have to submit the appropriate documentation to us after you have those expenditures. So invoice or receipt, proof that you paid the invoice or receipt, canceled check, bank statement, and then a summary of your expenditures. You send that to us it's a form called a cost report form, and then we reimburse you for that amount. You'll get a certain amount awarded to you, and once you expend that amount down to zero, get reimbursed for it, then you close the grant out. So you can submit another reimbursement request to get down to a zero balance in your account. That's kind of the way it works. So if you're not able to go ahead and kind of front the money yourself and purchase those items, then you need not apply for the grant, because we don't front any money in the grant. We've had some folks that have got this award have not been able to purchase, buy the stuff up front, and there's nothing we can do for you. So, unfortunately.
Important detail.
Yeah, very important detail. Yeah, exactly. So I say that's the biggest thing. Yeah. The other thing you got to realize, if you're any kind of installation activities, so if you're going to install anything, hammer a nail in a wall, screw a screw into a screw hole, disturb even a teaspoonful of dirt, any kind of repair, renovation, construction, modification, installation of kind of a construction nature, what they call EHP, Environmental Historic Preservation Review, will be required. And for an EHP, it's on here as well, but for the EHP, it's a form you have to fill out for FEMA. And it's a lot of paperwork because they ask for more information back. And basically, you're not able to start the project until the EHP paperwork gets cleared. What it basically is, it's a suite of about 20 different federal laws, environmental laws, historic preservation laws, that if you're using federal money to buy something that requires it to be installed, you have to be cleared of all these laws. So, let's say you're putting cameras on a building that's on the historic register, right? Well, that changes the look of a historic building, right? Because buildings in the 1910s didn't have cameras on them, right? So, they go through this review to make sure you can do that. Let's say you're putting in a fence, you got to dig up some dirt, right? Well, let's say you're on an Indian burial ground. You didn't realize that, right? Well, you can't disturb Indian burial grounds, right? That's a federal law. So they check for all these different things. Let's say you're putting up putting up a tower for communications, right? Or you're mounting something on a tower. Well, what if that interferes with federally protected migratory bird patterns, right? So it checks. There's so many different laws it checks against to make sure you're okay. Then you can actually start your project with the federal funds. So it's called EHP. So that's another big thing you got to realize. It can be a lot of paperwork. It's usually not a problem getting it cleared. It just takes some time to get it all cleared, right, with FEMA.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing you need to be concerned about. If you're doing contract security, so if you want to hire folks to do security work for your church, on weekends or during services or whatever, then you can only use up to 50% of your award for contract security. So let's say a $100,000 award, 50,000 could be for contract security, right? But you can't use a whole award for contract security. Only 50% of your work can be used for contract security. Contract security and anything you do has to follow proper procurement procedures when you talk about federal grants. So hopefully your organization has a procurement policy that you would follow. It has to be in accordance with federal or state guidelines, whichever is strictest. So for the most part, if you're doing something like contract security, you'd have to go ahead and get at least 3 bids for that, 3 quotes, and select the lowest cost responsive bidder. But it depends on what the level of your purchase is to what the rules you have to follow. So you have to have a procurement policy as well, and follow those rules. Typically, to be safe, what the federal government likes you to do if you get money from them is engage in competition, right? So they say, when in doubt, bid it out. That's kind of what I've heard people say with federal procurement. They want to ensure that if you use the federal dollar, that you are making sure you maximize that dollar by seeking competition, right? Fair and open competition, not, hey, here's my buddy, I want to give him some money, right? They want basically fair, open competition to maximize the federal dollar in a fair, demonstrable way. That's the underpinning of, the federal procurement rules. So as long as you're good with all that stuff, you should be fine. And most folks have no problem with it.
Okay. We should be good with that. I appreciate the info about the EHP. We'll have to deal with that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Is there a rule about, grant administration, restriction on that? Money for
So,
grant administration?
yeah, so yeah, there is, basically, as part of your award, you can seek up to 5% of your total award for what we call M&A, management administration costs. So
Yep.
again, let's say $100,000 award, 5% of that's $5,000, right?
Got it.
So you can do that, and that'd be just another project you'd have. So in other words, you would have to create, as you'll see us go through the demonstration, you create budget lines in Salesforce, and you put them on your investment justification form for your budget lines. And one of your budget lines will be, M&A, 5% of whatever the award was. Then you'd have your
Okay.
cameras and your contract security, whatever else you had. Basically, if you have a single location, you can get a maximum $150,000 award total, right?
Right.
For one location. If you have multiple locations, you get $150,000 for each location, up to 3 locations.
Right.
So, but if a single location, $150,000 is the most you can apply for. So if you do the math, whatever 5% of that is, that's the most you can get for M&A. And
Okay.
that's, again, that's pretty flexible money. You get it. We do encourage folks to take that if they so choose. Some people don't, but it's pretty flexible money. If you get it, it's probably smart to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I heard that in the previous presentation I saw. Didn't have time to take notes fast enough.
Yeah. No, it's nice. It's a nice thing about this award. They do allow that M&A cost. The other nice thing about this award that's really, we're fortunate and blessed. There's no cost share or match requirement, right? So basically, this is 100% funded by the federal government. Plus, you pay the expenditure and get it reimbursed. 100% funded by the federal government. A lot of grants will say there's a 75-25 split or a 50-50 split where they'll
Right.
match your funding forward. But in this case, it's all federally paid, right? So
Yep.
it really multiplies the power of that dollar when you don't have to match it yourself, right? You spend your own money on something else that you need. Use the federal dollars for this. So it
Excellent.
really assists, so it's a very user-friendly award in that regard. And it does a lot of good across the state for a lot of nonprofit organizations. Unfortunately, having said that, there's always more need than we have resources to provide.
Right.
We live in this era today, as you know, where it's just there's a lot of extremists and folks that want to do bad things to especially houses of worship and other nonprofit organizations across the state. So this grant's designed to really prevent that, but there's so much of a need. It's a competitive grant. Not everybody that does seek funding does get it. So it's unfortunate. But having said that, we of the nationwide NSGP program, we are the 3rd highest allocation for our state program of all the states in North Carolina. So we're blessed to have the amount of money that we get. So.
Excellent. And I'm in Gaston County, so I would be
Okay.
part of the Metro.
Yeah, you're going to be part of what they call the UASI, the Charlotte area UASI. So I was just going to bring up that point right here. So this is, if you look at our website, these basically, if you are Mecklenburg or a county touching Mecklenburg, you're in the UASI area. So Urban Area Security Initiative. There's a map of it right here, so you can see yourself right there.
Yeah, that's a great
part of the blue. So what that means basically is you're competing for this NSGP UA pot of money. And that is, see what it is here. So there's $137,250,000 nationwide. Okay? So all the different UASI areas, I think there's about 50 or so UASI areas across the whole country. You're competing with, but some of them are like, New York, California, Texas. There's some big UASI areas, but you're competing with the various UASI areas nationwide for your share of that money, the $137,250. Now, you still have the same limitations, $150,000 per single site, right? $450,000 if you have 3 sites for your application amount, but you're competing nationwide. If you're not in one of these counties, these 8 counties here, then you're competing for our state pool of money, which is roughly $4,275,000. You're competing for if you were not in that location.
Yeah. So I don't have to apply for the UEI yet. I can go ahead with Salesforce, and then I can, when we do that later, I can go back and plug that in.
Yeah, because I'll say this: you have to have a UEI to get awarded funds. So if you're selected for funding, you want to get a UEI because we cannot pay you any money unless we cannot reimburse you any money from the federal government unless you have a UEI. Your organization, and that applies really for any federal grant y'all going to apply to. So it's probably good to get it anyway from you, because there's more grants you can really apply for. So I would get that. There's no cost to you to get a UEI. Honestly, it's just some time, but there's no cost to you, no charge for that. With your UEI, as you go through the process, you got to go on a system called sam.gov.
Right.
It's a federal government system. You
Yep.
have to register in SAM to get your UEI.
Yep.
Now, SAM registration, UEI does not expire. Once you get a UEI, it's good for life, right? But SAM registration expires every year. So
Okay.
you have to reapply for, it doesn't get no cost. You have to reapply for SAM registration every year. At least while you have, if you receive funding from us for this grant, you have to maintain a current SAM registration. I would do it if I were
Okay.
you anyway, but it's a requirement for this grant if you get it to maintain current SAM registration.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yep.
All right. I think that's all my questions.
All right, outstanding. So with that, sir, you're free to stay if you want. We're going to go ahead and punch through with the rest of our demonstration here this morning. Feel free to stay or not, but we're going to go through and cover Salesforce and some other things right now. So thanks, Jim. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. So now, having said that, we're going to kind of launch into the rest of our presentation this morning. We've already kind of covered the introductory materials. Again, we have various grants manager and branch staff on the call, most specifically Miss Amanda Thaxton, who assists our primary program manager, Bradley Garrett, with the administration of this NSGP grant program for the state of North Carolina. Brad's out sick today, so Amanda's going to cover some information from Brad, just in general about the program. She has a few slides she wants to present today about that. Then we'll turn it over to our actual demonstration to show you how to apply for the grant in Salesforce. So Amanda, please take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well today. As Derek said, I'm Amanda Thaxton. I am assisting Bradley Garrett with our NSGP 2024 year. Additionally, I am helping out mainly in the Salesforce area because I have a lot of experience with it from previous positions. So we're going to go in and just kind of high level cover the NSGP program, or Nonprofit Security Grant Program. So basically, the NSGP program is meant to help with your security and making sure that you get training and awareness campaigns if you need it, any type of exercises, things along those lines. That's what this grant is really for. It's to kind of help with those things. So who's eligible for funding? This is always an interesting one when talking to different nonprofits. It's basically if you have a 501c3, if you are an eligible nonprofit organization, or if you can demonstrate through the application that the organization is at high risk of a terrorist or other extremist attack. So funding for NSGP comes from the federal government, as Derek previously said, and that is why it has to go through this process. Those are the counties that are included in the UASI area. These are the only people who are going to be considered for the UASI grant, but as Derek said previously, we are third in the nation, so we are very happy about that. This is our programmatic growth over the years of how much North Carolina has been awarded and what was awarded generally overall. And then this kind of just goes into how to apply Salesforce, the vulnerability assessment. We kind of need, in order to have a complete application, we basically just need your vulnerability assessment, your mission statement, and your investment justification. Additionally, if you would like, you can look at CJUST, or the Climate and Economic Justice Screening Tool. This adds bonus points on FEMA's side. So you get 15 points if you have never received funding in the past. And they will also additionally add 10 points if you fall within the CJUST area. You can check that on their website. My recommendation, because I've tried it with my own address, is to do it with just your street address and your city. Don't put anything else like a zip code or anything else like that. It tends to overlocate, if that makes sense. So that's just my suggestion. And then if you have any other, this is kind of after the fact of when you've gotten the award, we're going to send you the memorandum of agreement. We're going to go through the reimbursement request forms. As Derek said previously, the Environmental Historic Preservation, or EHP, annual reports. We could do site visits and closeout reports, any type of minor scope modifications, or if you need a period of performance review. And that's kind of just the high level overview.
All right, I'll say thank you, Amanda. Appreciate that great overview. Couple key points that Amanda brought out, and I'll share my screen again just to refresh everybody. Again, as I said, everything is on our website that Amanda just talked about, so all the information is here, along with the active hyperlinks to more information. If you go to our website, on the right-hand side of the screen, okay, under NSGP, there's this link for application documents. Click on the application documents link, and you will see a link to the investment justification form, the IJ form. Okay, this is your most important document. You must complete the IJ form in its entirety, and you'll be attaching that to Salesforce as one of the three required documents for your application. So this is really your application that gets scored, and then it gets attached into the Salesforce screen. So please always know where this is. And again, understand you must download this form onto your computer to open it. It's not web viewable or web fillable. So when you click on the link, you might think, oh my God, I got an error message here, right? No, you did not. Please make sure you download that form. So download it to your local computer, your desktop, or onto my downloads folder in this case. Okay, once you download that form to your computer, all right, then go onto your local computer, all right, in my case, downloads folder, and you will be able to pull that document up and open it up with your own version of Adobe, whether it's free or paid Adobe or whatever PDF program you have. Look it up, open it up, and now it is fillable on your computer, okay, with whatever version of Adobe that you have. So that is how you do it. It's not web fillable or web viewable. You must download that form onto your computer, open it up on your computer, fill it out on your computer, save it, and you'll attach it into Salesforce. All right, so that's the most important thing to understand with the IJ. The IJ investment justification form, it's long, but it's pretty self-explanatory if you read it. It describes exactly the information you have to fill out and complete. There are drop downs here, for you to answer certain questions with the drop down list. It will tell you basically how many points each section is worth. I think the whole form is worth 40 points. So here's what you fill out all this information. So here your background information is worth 5 of the possible 40 points. So again, you can kind of see where you're going to be scored at. Wherever you see these arrows, it's a drop down list. Please select the most appropriate drop down choice. So it's pretty self-explanatory. What I want to show you though is section 4B right here. This is your budget basically, okay? So this is what you're going to complete, and then you're going to transfer this information onto Salesforce as you build your budget in Salesforce, all right? The reason we have to build your budget in Salesforce is because we manage those grants, we manage the finances, money through Salesforce, not through a static PDF form. So you have to recreate your budget in Salesforce. Other than that, you're just clicking a few screens on Salesforce, you're rebuilding your budget from your IJ, and you're attaching the IJ, your mission statement, and your vulnerability assessment. Any other documents you want to submit, you'll attach your Salesforce application. All right, but this is the IJ form. This must be completed first, then go into Salesforce. All right, now when you complete this form, again, whenever you see an arrow, there's a drop-down list. All right, pretty much anything that you think you might want to buy with this grant, goods or services, has a drop-down selection here. All right, this is called the AEL. So these first series of alphanumeric digits. So let's say, example, you were trying to buy. Let's see, you're going to try to buy a. How about some doors? All right, we're trying to get some new doors. All right, click on that right there. 14SW-01-door. That's your AEL, authorized equipment listing for door. Okay, you're going to need that to copy and paste into Salesforce as you build your budget out. All right, but there's your doors, then your vulnerability to be addressed. This has to match up with a vulnerability that was identified in your vulnerability assessment. All right, and then how much you want to request for it. All right, so this is, you're going to do all this first, then go into Salesforce. All right, any questions before we start? Okay. When you go into Salesforce, and again, I'll just show y'all how to get into Salesforce. We showed this at the beginning, but the link to Salesforce is right here, okay, on our website page. You may already have an email with it too if you registered already with Salesforce. If you're not registered with Salesforce, please watch this video, click the link, request a new account with Salesforce, and you can register. But let's just say, for our purposes, you are registered in Salesforce, you have access, you click on the link to open up Salesforce, okay? I have created a fictitious account called Z Alpha Test. So it's a fictitious nonprofit organization located in the state of North Carolina. We are not in a UASI area. We're in a non-UASI area. We're in Alamance County, I think. So we're not in a UASI area, but we are a nonprofit in the state of North Carolina called Z Alpha Test. When I log on, and when you log on for your organization, you will see this homepage. Okay, it's called the North Carolina Emergency Management Grants Portal for Preparedness and Hazard Mitigation Grants. It's a mouthful. Basically, we share this portal with our hazard mitigation section in North Carolina Emergency Management. So in NCEM, we manage a lot of grants across the organization. For Grants Management Branch, my office, we manage about 10 different grant programs, including nonprofit security grant program. None of our grants require disaster declaration. Hazard mitigation manages a suite of what we call hazard mitigation or HM grants, some of which require disaster declarations. We share the portal with them. In theory, you might see some hazard mitigation grants on here as well. Doesn't really affect you as a nonprofit. You'll just be applying for nonprofit security grant program through us. Just be advised, that's why it's called that combined portal. So anyway, this is your home screen. Now, before you click on available grants, I want you all to go and look at your account profile. All right, and you can follow along with me here if you're watching the video or logged on. At the top of the screen, these are called objects. These kind of drop-down lists are called objects in Salesforce. All right, and always remember there's a more button here, and on more you've got additional objects here as well. Okay, so these are your objects. So from the home screen, I clicked on the object or drop-down list for account profile. Okay, now whenever you click on an object and you have a list, there's a little black arrow next to that list. Okay, this says all accounts. Please always click on that black arrow, and there's different ways you can sort the list. Always make sure it says all or accounts. Do not have recently viewed. Okay, if you have recently viewed, you might not see what you're looking for, especially if it's your first time you've accessed the system, right? So please always hit the little black arrow, do all accounts or accounts, and then you can pin that view so it shows up all the time when you click on that object. All right, so make sure it says all accounts. A lot of times people say, oh, I can't find my account or I can't find my application. Well, it's just because they didn't click the black arrow and select all. All right, so I'm going to do that. I see my account, Z Alpha Test. All right, excuse me a minute. Okay, so Z Alpha Test. This is my fictitious nonprofit organization. You can see my classification here. When you log on to your account, okay, this is your organization. You have various contacts associated with your account. So these are the people who work, yourself and the folks who work for the organization, which is the account. So you have the account object and you've got the contacts object, all right? You are a contact associated with your organization's account. You can have up to 5 contacts associated with your accounts, okay? So yourself and 4 other folks, or you can only have 1 if you want to just be the only person, but no more than 5, please. The reason we do that is because while there's no cost to y'all to use this system, click on use as much as you want, free of charge to you. We essentially get charged on a per click basis. So the more grantees and applicants use the system, the more we get charged. So we limit to only 5 contacts per account. So go look at your account first and make sure all your information is correct. Anywhere you see a pencil, all right, simply click on that pencil and update the field in real time. All right, so let's say I'm reviewing the information and I see here where, wait, employees, 50. Oh no, we're a small church. I only have 25 people that work for us. All right, so 25 employees, I change it, hit save, and that information is updated in real time. All right, for classification, okay, this is a drop-down list. Make sure you have nonprofit or nonprofit 501c3 status selected. Do not pick nonprofit without 501c3 status because you wouldn't be eligible for the grant. So nonprofit or nonprofit with 501c3 status must be selected. All right. Again, you can update that and hit save. All right. Please make sure your address information is correct. If you have a website, please put that in there. Okay. Please put your phone number information in here. For grantee details, jurisdiction, plan type, plan title, that's for hazard mitigation grants. You can leave that blank. But if you have a UEID, please put it in here. Okay. Now, if you don't have a UEID yet, you can just say TBA, right? Or TBD, to be announced, to be determined. But you will have to have a UEID to receive funding and receive an award from us. So your UEID goes there. Again, anywhere you see a little I button, if you hover over and click that little I button or I box, you will see more information about what's in that field. So overall, this is called a object And then these individual things that you fill out, these lines are called fields that you're filling out. So this is the UEID field. SAM registration, here's the field for that. Tells you what SAM registration is. I mentioned this earlier on the call, but UEID, you get it one time, no charge, stays with you for life. It's like a social security number account for your organization, all right? Free of charge, never changes. SAM expiration, you got to renew that every year. All right, it does expire, so we ask for the SAM expiration date here. So please keep that current and keep your SAM registration date in there. Federal, this is the federal tax number, the FAIN, federal employer identification number. So make sure you put that in there. Once all the information is correct, hit save, and you've updated your information in real time. The reason it's important to do this is because when you start your application, Salesforce will import your account information into your grant application. So if it's wrong here, it's going to import the wrong information. Now you can always stop your application, come back and fix it later, but you're going to be creating more work for yourself. So please make sure your account information is updated before you start your application. All right. Then go into your contact information. You can select up to 2 contacts associated with each grant application, a primary and a secondary. All right. So in this case, I'm the primary contact. So I'm applicant Derek. I'm submitting this application on behalf of Z Alpha Test. I click on my name, and I want to make sure all my information is correct because, again, it's going to import that information from the contact into the grant application. So if it's wrong here, it's going to be wrong on the application. Please get it right before you start the application. All right, so I'm reviewing all this. Most importantly, I can't say this enough, make sure that email address is current, valid, and works. Because what happens is, as Salesforce generates, as you complete various things in Salesforce, the system will generate email notifications to you. All right, if that email address is not right, you will not get those email notifications. All right, so please maintain a current, accurate, valid email address that you're able to see and not go to your junk or spam filters that you're able to see, so that you can know when things happen in Salesforce. All right, so anyway, I'm looking at all this. My email address is good. Wait, my phone number's not right. It's 3335. Click on the pencil. All right, simply update my phone number in real time. Hit save. Just corrected that address. All right, so let's make sure you have put an address. I don't have it here, but put an address in here. Make sure all this information is correct and accurate for you as a contact. All right. So I've updated my account profile. I've updated my contacts. Now I'm ready to apply for the grant. Go back to homepage, click available grants. And again, please, if you see the black drop-down box on that list, always, always, always do available grants, not recently viewed. So all or available grants. If you do recently viewed, you may not see what you want to see. All right. So do available grants, pin it so that view shows up. All right. Now, in this particular case, it's showing 2 different grant programs because we're testing this EOC GP grant program. So you probably won't see that much longer, but you want to apply for the Nonprofit Security Grant Program. All right. So you're going to click on Nonprofit Security Grant Program. And this gives you the information about the grant program. So before you apply, kind of try before you apply, I guess you could say. You can see all the information about the grant before you decide to apply for it using that button up there on the screen. All right. So this is the name of the grant program, the period of performance. So the POP or period of performance, this is how much time you have to spend the money, okay, and to be reimbursed for your eligible expenditures. So the period of performance is from 9/1/24 to 8/31/27. That means all of your eligible expenditures must be incurred within those dates, not before 9/1/24, not after 8/31/27, but before that period of time. You must have your expenditures incurred during that period of time, complete your project prior to the POP end date in order to be reimbursed for those funds. The applications are due 5/31/24. Again, we announced earlier today, this was previously 5/24/24, but we give a 1-week extension. No more extensions will be granted. It will be due 11:59 p.m. on 5/31/24 for your applications. All right. This is some information about the grant, how much y'all are competing for. So if you're in the NSGP-S program, the state program, we got over $4.2 million statewide you're competing for. So those are all the counties that do not touch Mecklenburg County. That's the state program. If you're competing for UASI funds, again, that's the 1 point some whatever, however much money you're competing for with all the UASIs, different pot of money. All right. Maximum award amount per grantee. Again, I can click on the iBox, see what this is. $150,000 per site. Okay. So if you have multiple sites, you have to submit a separate application for each site. You can submit up to 3 applications, each $150,000, no more than $450,000 for 3 applications per grantee if you have 3 sites. If you have sites in both the UASI and non-UASI areas, you can submit up to 6 applications, 3 UASI, 3 in state. But again, it cannot exceed $450,000. The most you get is $450,000 if you have multiple sites. All right, so that's the rules on that. Ratios says 100% federal funded grant. There's no cost share for you on this. So that's the nice thing about this grant. Here's the UASI counties again. So if you're one of these 8 counties, you're applying for the UASI grant. If you're one of the other counties that's not in this list, you apply for the NSGPS grant. Anywhere you see a blue box, a blue line, that's an active hyperlink. So this goes back to the FEMA website and to our website. So I go ahead and just, you can click on that and see, but I'd probably have the FEMA website open as well when I'm doing this. All right, and I'd have our website open as well for NCEM, so you get more information about those programs as you're completing your application. So I'd have those tabs open. All right, so all this looks good. I'm ready to apply for the grant. Now, I click here, apply, upper right-hand corner. Again, am I ready to apply? Yes, I am. Here's where it pulls that information in from your account. Okay, so all this information is here. If it's wrong, X out, and you have to go back into the application. Salesforce does assign a unique application number, and I'll show you where you can access those applications from in your screen, your home screen. But basically, you will be able to click on that and work on your application to update it up until the deadline of 5/31/24. So you can always come back and work on it later. But again, we've already made sure this information is correct, so I'm good. Actually, I'm Durham County. I thought it was Alabama, but I'm Durham County here. So I'm not in the UIC area, but I'm Durham County. Am I a nonprofit organization? Anywhere you see a red asterisk, that is a required field. Okay, so I'm gonna hit yes for that. I'm a nonprofit. Am I located within the UIC area? No, I'm Durham County. I'm not in the UIC area, so I click no. Okay, my POCs, all right, sub-applicant Derek, I'm the primary POC. I'm not gonna have a secondary POC, just myself. I'm applying for this grant for my organization. Save and next. Here's where it pulls over that POC information for sub-applicant Derek. All right, here's my email address, my phone number. They are correct. If not, X out of it, correct the object for contact, come back in, complete your application. But I've checked it to make sure it's correct. All right, project title. It's almost always going to be target hardening. All right. Some people say facility hardening. Usually it's just called target hardening. That's what it's called on the investment justification form. So I just recommend putting it here. If you have multiple locations, you can put target hardening Durham location, targeting multi-county location, right? So if you're submitting multiple applications for multiple sites, you can further specify. In this case, we have a single location in Durham County, target hardening. All right, here's that budget line I was talking about. So again, you want to go back to your IJ form. All right, we'll take a look at section 4B of your IJ form where you built out your budget. In this case, we're going to apply for some security doors. All right, going back to my vulnerability assessment, the vulnerability assessment said front doors are not secure. All right, that was specified in the vulnerability assessment. So people break into my building pretty easy because I have cheap locks on my doors. They're easy to break into. All right, I need to get some new doors. All right, this is going to cost me, say, $100,000. All right, so this is my IJ budget. Again, what I want to do, I want to copy and paste this AEL right here. Okay, just copy it and save that for later. We're going to use that in Salesforce. All right, let's go back to Salesforce. All right, I'm creating a budget line. So I want to buy some doors for $100,000. Salesforce enforces what we call POETI discipline. So that means you must pick a category for each expenditure you are claiming. All right, there are 5 categories: planning, organization, equipment, training, and exercise. So POETI discipline. All right, you must pick one of those choices for the category of the expenditure. Now, in this case, doors, it's pretty easy. That's equipment, right? If you were doing training, it would be pick training. Exercise be exercise. If you had like M&A funding we talked about earlier, you can pick organization for that. So there's different categories you can pick, but for doors, I'm picking equipment. All right. So now, description. So say security doors. All right. Cost $100,000. All right. AEL. Okay. Authorized equipment listing. Again, what I've already done is I've already copied and pasted those alphanumeric characters, right? Copy and paste that into my application. So I just hit paste now. Boom, that's the AEL. Now, some people have been confused What they've done is they've tried to copy and paste the entire line from the IJ, okay? But the AEL is just this first series of alphanumeric characters, all right? This is just saying what the item is called, all right? But this is the actual AEL. So you only want to copy and paste this part, just that series of alphanumeric characters, not the whole long description of what it is. Or else it's going to cause an error message in Salesforce. So my AEL for doors is 14SW-01-DOOR. All right, save and next. And I've created my budget. I can create additional budget lines if I want. Again, I can put up to $150,000 per site. In this case, let's keep it simple. All we want is $100,000 for these doors. No additional budget lines. All right, again, this is just reviewing everything. So it assigns a unique budget line number of 1179 for equipment, $100,000. I can edit it, I can delete it, create a new one if I want. But in this case, it all looks good. I'm done with the budget. Simple as that. Now, the most important part of the application, as I said before, it reminds you here, you must attach on the following screens, you must attach your completed investment justification form, which is again this PDF form from FEMA that we've already filled out. All right, you must attach that. You must attach your mission statement for your organization, and you must attach your vulnerability assessment. Your vulnerability assessment, it can be done by law enforcement, it can be done by private, contractors, security companies. You can do a self vulnerability assessment. There's links on our website, the FEMA's website, that take you to a process to do your own vulnerability assessment. But you must have a vulnerability assessment. If you do not, you will not receive funding. Okay, you must have the IJ, mission statement, and vulnerability assessment. And the theory of this, and Amanda mentioned this, is you are receiving funding to fill gaps identified in your vulnerability assessment, right? So my vulnerability assessment says my front doors are a problem, but I apply for windows, I'm not going to get funded, right? What you're requesting for funding has to match your vulnerability assessment. FEMA does that to enforce discipline in the process, so that we're actually paying for something that is needed. Okay, so that's why the vulnerability assessment is required. So you have the vulnerability assessment, mission statement, and IJ. You can attach other supporting documents if you want. It's not required. Okay. I have seen folks attach actual police reports, showing unfortunately incidents that occurred at their location, right? They kind of give truth to the word, if you will, that hey, something really happened here. I've had folks attach, crime statistics for their neighborhood and where the building's located. Showing there's a lot of break-ins in the area or other, violent crime in the area. I've seen that. Photos, sometimes the picture's worth 1,000 words. Some folks attach photos. You can attach an additional narrative statement if you want. You can talk and describe why this project is so important if you want. Anything you want to report, you want to attach to the application, you can do that. All right, but you're only required to have the IJ, mission statement, and vulnerability assessment. All right, here's why I upload that documentation. First, and there's more directions up here of what I just said, but first and foremost, it's going to be your IJ. All right. Now I know this says attach receipt here. Don't be fooled by that. That's just kind of out of the box language Salesforce comes with, because Salesforce is really used in commercial applications, with businesses. So it just says attach receipt, but it just means attach document. All right. So go ahead and just where it says upload justification, hit upload files. So then you go on your computer. I saved my IJ to my local computer in my downloads folder, if you recall earlier, right there. Click on it. You get a little green check mark here. And green check mark there. I'm good. I've uploaded my IJ. All right. These other documents that are optional, your no overdue taxes, conflict of interest policy, procurement policy, electronic payment form, and substitute W-9 form, which is your state tax form. These are optional with application. You can choose to upload them now or not. They are required if you receive funding. All right. So they're not required to apply, but you can get a jump on things and attach them now, so you don't have to do it again later, or just leave them blank for now. And when you get funded, you can upload those things later. So I'm just gonna leave them blank for now. Your call if you want to upload them. Go to the other box down here, okay, where it says other file name. This is required. Go in the drop-down list and pick mission statement. There's a lot of stuff on here. Just find mission statement. It's all alphabetical. I want to upload my mission statement. Again, this is one of the required documents. So I don't have a real mission statement. I'm just going to pretend I have something here. So I'll do this as my mission statement. And that's the alpha test mission statement. I got a green check mark that I've uploaded it. Now, again, you can upload as many documents as you want under the other box. So now you have to do your vulnerability assessment. For the drop-down list, go to vulnerability assessment. right there. Upload files from your local computer. Again, I don't have a real vulnerability assessment. I'm going to pretend this is my vulnerability assessment from my download list of my computer. I've uploaded all that. Okay. Now let's say I want to attach additional documentation, just optionally. All right. Let's say I have a photo I want to attach. All right, let's find photos here. And again, upload file. And let's say I've got a photo right there as an image. All right, so I've attached an additional photo in support of my application. So I've got my green check marks here for my boxes for other and IJ. I've uploaded my documents. Hit save and next. These are the certifications that are required. Since this is a federal grant, there are 6 certifications required. These certification numbers line up with these statements over here. So the first one, complete and accurate information, yes. Okay, the second one's about the EHP we talked about. And here's a link to the EHP website for FEMA. Again, if you have any project that has the potential to be construction, renovation, repair, alteration, modification activities, if you nail a nail into a wall, screw a screw into a screw hole, disturb even a teaspoonful of dirt, EHP could be required. Okay, it requires a lot of paperwork. It could delay you the start of your project, but it must be done before you can be reimbursed and start your project with NHTB federal funds. All right. Most people do get around it and are able to go and successfully complete their project. Doesn't stop the project, but it does delay the project and require more paperwork and work. So I understand that. Yes. Okay, especially here where I'm buying a door, right? I have to install those doors in my building. That's going to require an EHP. All right. So yes. And you must say yes to all these or it will not let you advance. All right. So you understand EHP. Again, my AEL, I selected the AEL for doors in my budget, right? This just says you have to make sure you have an AEL when you're buying equipment. And there's a link to the AEL list from FEMA. Yes, I understand that. Submission of project is not guaranteed funding. I understand that. This is important. You must be able to sustain your capabilities once funding is no longer available. Okay. So, I'm not just going to buy a door with federal funds. I'm going to go ahead and maintain that door because the federal government doesn't want to buy you something and then 3 years later it falls to a state of disrepair, right? So you must be able to maintain and sustain that capability when you no longer have federal funds for it. So in this case, I understand that. I'm going to maintain that door with my own funds, right? Yes. And this is the most important one. This is basically the false official statement statute. So because this is you're applying through the state of North Carolina for a federal grant, both state and federal laws do apply. So if you lie on this application, same things if you lie to the FBI. It is punishable by up to 5 years in federal penitentiary and a very large fine, okay, in addition to state penalties as well. Bottom line, it's not worth it. Please do not lie in this application. I've said there, yes, I understand that. Okay. David, next, I've completed my certifications and you've completed your application. Boom, you're done. Okay, now when you go back to your Salesforce screen, your home page, all right, if you click on the applications object at the top of the screen, I have a number of different applications submitted here because I've used this to test it a number of different other times. But if you can sort this list by most recent to most distant, okay, so I've already sorted that. The one I just did now, 5/20/24, at 10:45 a.m. That's my application. It assigns application number 424. Okay, click on that. There's my application I submitted. Here's the details. This is called the details tab. Always click on the related tab next to that, and you will see the various objects associated with the application. Importantly here, what we call EM documents, emergency management documents. So this is your IJ, mission statement, vulnerability assessment, and your photos. Click on those, you'll see the files you uploaded. Okay. You created a budget. Salesforce assigned a unique budget number, budget 369. If you click on that budget, you will see the budget lines that comprise the budget, which is your doors for $100,000. All right. This just shows your history and approval history. Right now, you just submitted your application, nothing else. If you get awarded funds, you will see your award notification, and then you will see your MOA or grant agreement award notifications down here with different objects created for that. All right. But for now, details of the grant, of my application, and related objects that are associated with that application. I can update my application right up until the deadline. I can withdraw my application, start a new. Once 5/31/24 occurs, 11:59 p.m. This locks, and this is what gets submitted in the system. Okay, so it's pencils down at that point. Up to that point, I can update it. But let's say I want to print it. Anywhere you see printable view in Salesforce up here, click that, and it'll bring up this kind of PDF document here. So you can just print this page. You can print it as a PDF. You can print it to hard copy to your printer if you want. Anytime you want to print a hard copy or a PDF, just do that. And you can do it anytime you want in Salesforce. All right, I don't want to print in this case. I'm good with this. I don't want to update my application. I'm good to go. Everything looks good. So I have now submitted successfully my FY24 application, which is assigned application number 424 for Z Alpha test for the NSGP S program for FY24 NSGP in the state of North Carolina. All right, any questions? All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, great. And Jim, I think we answered your questions earlier, sir. And Nancy, I saw you joined us as well. Nancy, anything we can help you with here?
No, that answered my question. My biggest concern was how to download that IJ form. So you answered all that. Thank you.
Outstanding. All right, perfect. All right. Well, I think we've answered all the questions. Again, this has been recorded, so this recording will be available on our website for future reference. And I think we only have, Janine, do we have what, 1 or 2 sessions left maybe? So we don't have a lot of sessions left. We're getting to the end of the sessions. But I think there is at least 1 or 2 more available if you want to join us later in the week or next week. And with that, since there are no further questions, it's been a pleasure bringing this information to you this morning, and good luck in your application process for FY24 NSGP. Thank you all. Have a great day. Goodbye. I'm going to stop the recording now.